Hello. Yo. Ooh, what the fuck? Hello. Wait, let me share the link. Hold on. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the stream. My eye is so watery. Can everybody hear me and see me all right? Is the music too loud? You getting back into politics or nah? Lull since the election and all? I'm not making politics videos, most likely. I'm still willing to talk about politics, although I consider myself less engaged than before, and most likely less informed also. But yeah, as far as the channel goes, I probably will not return to politics. No. I don't I just don't think the internet is good for discussing politics. It just doesn't work, really. What's up, Jeff? Do I watch comic shows? I haven't popped in for a long time. DCU. I haven't really. There's a lot. There's a few that are on my list, but I'm very bad about keeping up with shows. I haven't checked out The Penguin yet. I only watched the first episode of Peacemaker. I want to check out Doom Patrol. I heard that's really good, but yeah, I'm behind on everything. Am I watching any newer shows? Nope. The last show that I watched was Agatha All Along, I think. And that was really good. But yeah, I don't watch a lot of TV. I just watch YouTube all day long. Music sounds good. Okay, cool. Because last stream, the music was too loud and no one said anything. I listened to the VOD. And I was like, the music is too loud. No one said anything. The hell? Here's a silly, hopefully fun question. Which sitcom world would you like to live in? Which sitcom world? I don't know. Most sitcoms are full of crazy people. Let me see. I was gonna say The Good Place, but well, I don't want to spoil the show, but if anyone's seen The Good Place, there are reasons why you might not want to be in that universe, but there are reasons why you would want to be. Even in the parts where they're in the bad places, it still looks pretty cool to me. The music is a little too loud. Are people just like being polite, or they think that that's how I want it? Is that why nobody comments on it? Is it any better? Am I? Oh, I guess there's different opinions on how loud it is. I turn it down, I think. Am I a nostalgic type? Yeah. That's kind of what my whole channel has been lately. Just nostalgia about old TV shows. Family Matters reality. Just a tiny amount of sci-fi and fantasy. Yeah, I could see that. I think a lot of those family shows would just be pretty chill to live in. But Family Matters makes it just a little bit interesting with the sci-fi. I think it's a pretty good answer, actually. Can we tackle climate change with globally funded, engineered, and developed carbon capture technology? No governments, no corporations. I don't really understand how that works. Where does the funding come from? I think most people don't have enough money to fund something like that. Clean shirt, where's it from? You talking about my shirt? This is just a t-shirt. In fact, it's actually a it's like a this is probably gonna be unexpected, but this t-shirt has a picture of Danny Glover on it. I don't know where it comes from. A friend got it for me for my birthday. It's kind of an inside joke. There's a twist. The laugh track would come with you to the sitcom world. I mean, that would be pretty annoying. I I like laugh tracks though. I know a lot of people are kind of over laugh tracks. I think especially younger people. I think people like my age and older kind of have fond memories of shows with laugh tracks, so we don't mind it. But I think a lot of younger people like kind of hate laugh tracks. But I definitely wouldn't want them in my real life. How long did it take you to get your hair looking that cool? Well, the last time I had a haircut was like 2009, I think. Either 2009 or 2010. And so I guess about that long. That's a nice chain too. Well, I appreciate that. It's nothing really special about it. Just got it on Amazon. But yeah, I agree. It is a nice color for the shirt. The shirt is actually a little too big, but this is kind of my comfy lounging at home shirt. Your blue sky posts are based. Really? I appreciate that. I've been getting more into blue sky lately. At first I didn't really understand it. And like, well, I was kind of suspicious of it at first because basically the way that blue sky was first explained to me was after Elon took over Twitter, all of the sort of left-wing people escaped Twitter to go to blue sky. At least that's how people explained it to me. And so when I heard that, I was like, are there just gonna be like a bunch of annoying tankies on blue sky? Because that doesn't sound fun to me either. But it's not like that. It's pretty chill, and as of now, I kind of like their kind of philosophy behind the site. Like, they claim that they're not gonna do ads, and their algorithm is not super aggressive like other sites. So it doesn't encourage a lot of weird engagement bait and stuff like that. And also, I feel like people actually see my posts on there, which is cool. Like on Twitter or Threads, you can post something, it'll get like 3 likes. Even if you've got a lot of followers, it'll get like 10 likes or something, and it's like, okay. And then every now and then you'll just post something that gets like 1,000 likes, and it's like, well, I don't even know why that happened. But on Blue Sky, I feel like the engagement is pretty consistent. Like, if you follow people, you see their stuff, so it's pretty cool. Do they still even use laugh tracks? They do on some network shows, and they definitely do on like Disney Channel sitcoms and other like cable sitcoms. But it is definitely a dying aspect of television. I mean, it's basically, it's because sitcoms by and large used to be filmed in front of live audiences, and that doesn't happen quite as much these days. But it's still there in certain places. But I do think that the multi-camera sitcom in front of a live audience is a dying form, which is kind of sad for people like me who grew up with that. The BoJack Horseman world wouldn't be that bad to live in. I've never seen that show. That's also on my list. It seems like it's really depressing, which I don't know if I'm interested in, but if it's good, it's good. How long is your hair, and is it hard to wash? Well, it's definitely hard to wash. How long? I don't know if I can. It basically falls down to the bottom of my back, the top of my butt, probably. Pretty long. That Kid Survivor was whack. I think a lot of people felt that way. I enjoyed the show though. What mic do you recommend for an intermediate YouTuber? I'm not sure what you mean by intermediate YouTuber. And it just kind of depends on your budget, I guess. But I always feel like the Blue Yeti is a perfectly good cheap mic that I think can work whether you're small, intermediate, or large. If you have the budget, this mic, the SM7B, is kind of like the gold standard for microphones. It's just a very high quality, durable microphone that just works and sounds good all the time. And it's like durable, like you can literally scream into it and it's fine. Like a lot of mics can't handle that kind of thing. But this is expensive. This is like maybe like $500, I think. Maybe more. I'll probably find one used or something. But it's not really necessary. All it's necessary is that people can hear you. And it doesn't hurt their ears to listen to you. There's other mics like the Audio Technica. I used to have an Audio Technica. I can't remember the model name, but Audio Technica makes some good mics that are less expensive than this one. And honestly, they've probably come out with a bunch of new stuff since I've last gone mic shopping. So I may not be the best person to ask, but truly just any decent mic. I think there's probably dozens of decent mics you could use. Were you able to gain any insight from the comments on your post about the wide range of views on your videos? Any recurring themes in the comments? Yeah, I think there were recurring themes. I should have been more specific. I think a lot of people were trying to just guess what they think the issue was, when I was really trying to ask people what their personal relationship with my videos was, like how they chose what videos to watch. Because, I think a lot of people have an idea of how the YouTube algorithm works, but that idea is not always accurate or based on factual information. So like a lot of people just say like it's just the algorithm. The algorithm is just screwing you over because that's just how it works. Which I don't think that's just how it works. If people are interested in the video, they will click on it. And if a lot of people click on the video, then YouTube will share it. I really think it's that simple. However, there were some interesting things like there was ideas about, well, for one thing, a lot of people just said, you do videos about shows, and I usually only click if I'm familiar with the show, which makes sense. So it's kind of up to me to figure out how to make things more appealing to more people. And one part of doing that is just with the title and thumbnail. And I think sometimes there's an impression of what the video is going to be like just based on the title and thumbnail. And I think sometimes maybe people get a wrong impression of what it is. So I think there were a couple comments that said the thumbnails and titles kind of look like it's going to be like, like a fan montage or just like someone gushing about the show that they like. And, if you don't like the show or don't know the show, you can't really appreciate the video. Which I think if you watch my videos, you definitely don't have to have watched the show to appreciate the videos, because really all they do is just tell a story. And I give all the context necessary to understand the story, but it's not always easy to show that in the title and thumbnail. So that's something that I probably need to work on. Your hair would probably drag all along the floor if you let it all down. I don't know about that, but it would be pretty gnarly for sure. But it's pretty much impossible to let it all down. Like this is fully matted together. This is never coming apart. BoJack Horseman is an exact 50-50 ratio of depressing and hilarious. The darker it gets, the more outlandish the humor. Yeah, I would assume so. I would assume it's just not like a dark, sad show all the time, or else people probably wouldn't like it. Hey T1J, thoughts on Destiny and where do the left go from here post-election? I actually watch a decent amount of Destiny. I've kind of discovered other left-wing, like sort of, I don't like saying center left, but you kind of have to at this point. But like other center left content creators through him, like Pondering Politics and I forgot the other guy's name, but Destiny's an interesting case because I definitely don't agree with him on everything, and I don't agree with like the way that he carries himself a lot of the time, but he's extremely smart and he's like knows what he's talking about, and he kind of like puts his money where his mouth is, which I really respect. I think a lot of political content creators are like just all talk and just spout a bunch of bullshit, and just kind of, you can tell that they're just kind of in it for the clout and for the, just to get a rise out of people. But you can tell that he like actually cares about the things that he talks about, which I respect. And I also have this sort of what's the word? I'm also sort of like exhausted with the, again, I don't want to say far left because that sounds cringe to me, but the way that certain aspects of the left behaved during this election cycle was very annoying to me, and possibly contributed to the fact that Trump won. Obviously I can't definitively prove that, but I think that's a big problem, is that we can't even get people to support the Democratic nominee for president. And listen, I used to be guilty of this. I made several videos about how this choice between the like picking the lesser of two evils is like unacceptable, and I refuse to do it. But I've kind of changed my view on that. I now think that's kind of a silly, immature way to think about voting and politics. So I kind of share Destiny's thoughts on that. So that's, I mean, obviously the Democrats have a lot of work to do, and they probably need to do better at communicating and picking their candidates. But also, people on the left need to like take it more seriously so that Republicans don't win, because it's just objectively worse when Republicans win all the time. Did I check out the silo? I did not. I like the one where you only lasted 8 seconds before getting mad. That video did much better as a meme on Twitter that someone else posted, but good for them for identifying the potential of that as a meme. You haven't got a haircut, but you have obviously gotten retwist though. I have not. I've never twisted or retwisted my hair. This is all natural. This is just naturally formed dreads. Since you do great videos on shows, any new shows you recommend? Not really, because I don't watch new shows. You notice all my videos are about old shows. Interesting about the title and thumbnails. I was curious as to why Joe Schmo got a lot of views, and I was more interested in the jury duty, as on face value are both Truman Show-esque concepts. Yeah, I don't know. I do think that the Joe Schmo video is just a better video than the jury duty video. But also just more people clicked on it, which I honestly don't know the answer to that. That video was a bit of an anomaly. It just got way more views than any other video I've ever made, and I don't really know why. But that's just how it is sometimes. Do I play any instruments? Nope. I tried for maybe about a few months. Well, I more like a few years, but on and off. So in total, maybe about a few months. But I tried to learn how to play the guitar, and I learned a few things. I can play a few chords, but I wouldn't say that I play the guitar. And when I was a kid, I played the violin in 3rd grade, but I couldn't do it now. As a person of color, I can't watch Destiny because all the slurs he uses. Hassan Piker gives much better coverage. I mean, everyone has their own thing. I think I have gotten really good at separating people from the content they make. Like, if Destiny, like, I don't know if I would be friends with Destiny. I don't know if I would hang out with them. But I can appreciate the tone of his content. I don't know that he uses slurs all that much. I think that he definitely says the R word all the time, if that's what you're talking about. So that's for sure. And I think he like dropped the N word on Twitter to trigger someone one time, or probably more than once. But anyway, I'm not here to defend Destiny yet. But I do appreciate sort of the overall message that he's trying to send. And I think Hassan he seems like a nice, chill dude, but I think he's an example of what I'm talking about, is these left-wing people that kind of have a bad attitude about elections. And he was one of the people that refused to publicly support Kamala Harris, which, you know, he has a huge audience, so that was probably a big deal, and he probably convinced a lot of people to not vote, which is bad. So I have a little bit of beef with him about that, but outside of that, it seems like a fine dude. He's definitely not as bad as some of the other leftists out there. Watched both, and I'm not fully sure why I felt more curious about one than the other, but I feel like it may be that Joe Schmo title and thumbnails felt more like a video about the concept than the show. I mean, when I first released the jury duty video, the title and thumbnail was almost identical to the Joe Schmo, so I don't know. I have changed the jury duty title and thumbnail many times, but you know, I truly don't know. It could be just that the video is not as good, and YouTube, like the YouTube algorithm is smarter than I think a lot of people think, and I think maybe it just recognized that people weren't engaging with the video as much. Thoughts on your favorite movie of 2024? I haven't watched that. I don't know if, well, I didn't watch that many movies. I'm trying to remember what movies I did even watch. Did Across the Spider-Verse come out in 2024, or was that 2023? If so, that's probably it. And that movie was amazing. your straight dude logic video is really valuable, and I think that type of breakdown could help with this whole masculinity crisis thing. Yeah. I mean, not early, but several years ago, that was one of the things that I wanted to do with my channel, was to try to speak to men in a non-toxic way and not provide an example, but just like talk about positive masculinity. I never really got around to figuring out the best way to do that. And I still think there's a problem. There's not enough communicators that communicate, positive masculinity. And that's another problem with the left, is, or at least that has historically been a problem with the left, is how often they just kind of shit on men. And I would argue that's one of the reasons why so many of them have turned to the right and to cringe people like Andrew Tate and stuff, because the left has spent so much time talking shit about them. But the problem is there's no counter to that, and I wanted to be a counter to that. Maybe I did a little bit, but at this point, it's, that just kind of falls into the political discussions that I don't really want to do on the internet anymore, because I just don't think it works. But maybe in a different way, I can talk about those kind of things. Since you said ask me anything, take on the Irish general election. I have no idea about any single part of that. If hot dogs are sandwich, are nachos a salad? I disagree that hot dogs are a sandwich. I think hot dogs are hot dogs. What YouTubers do you like who do similar content to what you do now? Do similar content? I like Sarah Zed, Big Joel, Lindsay Ellis. There's people like Nerd Sync and Nando V Movies. I just realized I'm naming all Nebula creators. That's not on purpose. But I think Nebula just kind of snatched up like all of the good video essays and commentary channels. But yeah, those are some examples. Spider-Verse was summer 23. Oh. Well, I think the only movie I watched in 2024 is probably Deadpool 3. And I guess that wins by default. But that movie was pretty okay. I wouldn't say it's a super excellent movie, but it was fun. What software do I use for editing? I use DaVinci Resolve. How do you create your thumbnails, like the Scrabble video thumbnail? I use Photoshop. I have some Photoshop skill, so I just use that. I think anyone who wants to like be a YouTuber should learn how to use Photoshop, because thumbnails are really important. There's an unlimited amount of Photoshop tutorials on YouTube, so you can learn it step by step. Excuse me. Do I generally on FD signifiers analysis on the election? I haven't watched his analysis on the election, so I'm not exactly sure what he said. How can I get a lot of views on my videos? By making really good videos and by making really good titles and thumbnails. You can be more. I can be more specific, but it would take a long time. But if you have other specific questions, I can answer. I also wrote a whole book about how to do that. I don't even know if there's a link in the description, but the main idea is Learn how to tell good stories with a beginning, middle, and ends. People love stories. And then learn how to market your videos with good titles and thumbnails. And good titles and thumbnails are very simple and clear and curiosity inspiring and specific. Don't be vague. A lot of people use vague thumbnails. In fact, I think that's one of my problems is I think that a lot of my titles have been too vague. But people want to know exactly what they're going to get into before they click on the video. So be very specific about what the video is about. And if the idea of the video is good enough, just tell people what the idea of the video is. And if it's interesting, then people will click on it. And if a lot of people click on a video, it will get a lot of views. I think that the title and thumbnail almost matters more than the video on YouTube specifically. YouTube heavily boosts videos that get clicked on a lot. How do you deal with a racist boss? I don't have specific experience with this personally, I don't think, or at least not really specific experience. But that's a tricky situation. I mean, if you intend to keep the job, it might be just something that you have to deal with. I mean, unfortunately, when you have a job that is like your livelihood, you have to sort of take the bad with the good. But I would argue that you shouldn't stay in a situation that causes you misery. If this is a problem that is, you know, just significantly decreasing the quality of your life, I would get out of that situation. Like, I wouldn't deal with it. I would just leave and get a new job, which I know is easier said than done. But I think that your mental health and your just general enjoyment of life is worth it. Poor men, now imagine how it feels to have your bodily autonomy to be taken away by legislators. Yeah, it's not a competition between men and women. I think this is the attitude that I'm talking about. Like, I don't know why people think that being mean and being dismissive and sarcastic is productive. Like, that's all that does is make enemies, and it doesn't get people on your side. Like, I feel like people just care more about sort of like sharing their point than actually like getting people to see your side of the story. I just don't understand that, and I think that's a big problem with the left. But yeah, it's not a competition. I don't like, two things can be true. Like, men are people that have problems and issues and goals and feelings, just like everyone else. Nice hair. Thank you. Favorite fast food burger? Probably Whataburger, or as they say down south, Waterburger. Have you gone to many theme parks? Are you a roller coaster guy or a more chill ride kind of guy, or none of the above? I'm definitely not a roller coaster guy. I don't like roller coasters at all. I like Universal Studios, like the attractions and stuff. Those are cool. But it's been a long time since I've been there, maybe like 10 plus years. I would like to go to something like that again. But yeah, I'm an attraction guy, not a roller coaster guy. I'll share a link to my book. It's hold on. I think it's like theonegener.com/my-book. Yeah. I'm gonna put a link to my book. And yeah, it's just kind of like all of the information that I wish that I knew when I first started YouTube, because it took me a long time to figure out how to even get views. And this is just, and I'm obviously not a master of it, as we've kind of discussed, where I'm have videos that don't do as well as others. But I think for smaller and beginner creators, I think these are the kind of things that you want to do. Have you noticed that when the Democrats are pressured to listen to the people, instead they choose to throw the fight? What is your take on why they do this? The Democrats are pressured to listen to the people. I don't think I understand that. Does that happen? I feel that the Democrats don't listen to the people usually. But it's hard to even analyze the strategy of the Democrats. I tend to believe that they just don't really care that much about winning. I feel like Democrats they're kind of satisfied with the amount of power they have, and they know that even if they don't have the power now, they'll probably get it later, so they're not that stressed about it. I mean, I'm sure that there's some people in the Democratic Party that that do care more than others, but yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to analyze why the Democrats do what they do. I think the main problem with the Democrats is they just do not know how to communicate to people. Like, the Democrats come off as very cringe and very like status quo and very like, especially now, especially like with Kamala and Biden. But I don't think that they are that. If you really get down to the nitty gritty, like, I think that Joe Biden has been the best president of my lifetime, but you would never know that based on the way that anybody talks about it. But at the same time, I don't know how they fix that. I don't know if like touting Biden's accomplishments is going to be useful, because people don't usually care that much about you saying facts. You have to figure out a way to tell the narrative. You have to tell a story. Like, all of this, so like the Republican narrative has just been talking about how Biden, ruined everything, and everything has been bad. Everything has been worse since Biden became president, which is like objectively not true by any measurable standard. But for some reason, you didn't hear the Democrats really correcting that narrative at all. I mean, I guess they did a little bit, but they did a really poor job of countering that narrative, which was an objectively false narrative. But it doesn't matter what's true. It just matters what's convincing. I bought your book, and I've been really noticing how other creators use their titles and thumbnails. Your comment on spoiling the video was spot on. I see that all the time now. Yeah, just spoil the video. Just tell people what the video is about. Like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example off the top of my head. But I think most people understand that, and this is probably almost me quoting the book, but most people understand that you need to get people curious in order to click on your video. So what people think they need to do is they need to be vague. They need to be like mysterious. It's like, you won't believe what happened when I did this. But people don't click on stuff like that, really, because it's like, I have no idea what this is about. Why would I click on this? There's literally dozens of video on my homepage, and this one I don't know what it's about. Why would I click on it? Just instead of saying you won't believe what happened, just tell them what happened. Just want to say I found about you from an old post you made on the YouTuber subreddit, and the first vid I saw was the Scrabble video, not any of your politics vids. That's interesting. I appreciate that. I do think the Scrabble video is one of my best videos, but I just don't think it was the right video for my audience. Um, Unfortunately, YouTube is really hard to succeed unless you have a pretty narrow niche. And apparently my niche, like a lot of the comments I got were like, your videos are all over the place, which I don't think they are. Like all of my videos for the past 2 years, I think, have been about old TV shows. But again, maybe the algorithm is not showing my videos to people enough, so it doesn't seem that way. But you know, perceptions matter more than reality, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying about politics. But you just have to figure out the right kind of videos for your audience. No question, just wanted to say how much I've enjoyed your content over the years. Hope this slight topic has brought you some peace of mind. I appreciate that. It definitely has. I think I'm much less stressed out now. And I honestly just didn't have that much to say about politics anymore. Like anything interesting. At that point, I would have been just doing it for the views. Just doing it just because that's what I thought people wanted, rather than because that's what I wanted to do. Because really what I had like a couple years where I was like, I feel like there is an absence of people talking about like racial politics in a nuanced way from a black perspective. Wait, my Slack's going off, the hell. Anyway, so that's what I felt like I wanted to do, and I covered like all of the big topics that I felt like people should cover, like cultural appropriation, colorism, you know, stuff like that, like performative social justice, things like that. I just like all of these like main topics that come up when you're talking about racial politics, and then I covered all of them. And so I was like, well, what do I do now? It's like, I guess I could just comment on current events and stuff, but that's not that exciting to me. What's up, Jay Moxie? I really appreciate your storytelling skills. I appreciate that. It's actually something that I have worked on specifically. I wanted to get better at telling stories, and so I researched it and practiced, and I think I can still get better, but I think my storytelling skills have gotten better. Should I pour ranch dressing on my keyboard? No, you should not. Do you think you would get more views if you were more sensationalistic, like watching Friends will ruin your life? I always hate that hyperbolic marketing, but it does seem to work. I think to some extent I would. But I also think that my audience and just audiences of a certain type really appreciate authenticity. So I think it'd have a backfiring effect. But I do think there's a level of hyperbole that is allowed, like I have a video, like my video about The Office is called, I think it's called The Most Toxic Love Triangle in TV History or something like that. Like that's a little bit of an exaggeration. But I think it was permittable because that's essentially like the video did cover a toxic love triangle. So as long as it accurately represents the video, I think you can get away with it. And also there's just some things that I don't want to personally do just because it feels sketchy or cringe to me. But yeah, I mean, I that's something actually that I'm going to be experimenting with more. It's just, it's unfortunate, but like negativity just does better on YouTube. So I'm just gonna try to do more negative titles. My goal is I can get you in with the negativity, but by the time you finish watching the video, you feel kind of good, or at least you feel entertained. I don't want people to feel sad or angry after watching my videos, but a little bit of, maybe a little bit of emotion or outrage just to get people in the door, I could do that. Do you listen to Tyler the Creator? Not really. I listened to his stuff a lot, like several years ago, like when he was first popping off, but I haven't really listened recently. Boney Maloney. Thank you for the super chat. Is that a super chat? Or super sticker? Is that Australian 199? Is that what the A means? I appreciate it. Is it hard being on the left in your part of Alabama? Not really. I live in Birmingham, Alabama, which is pretty much the blue part of Alabama. As you know, at least as far as Alabama goes. I'm sure it's less blue than, you know, like LA or something, but it's not that hard to find like-minded people where I am. If I were to venture out into like the suburbs or like the rural areas of Alabama, it'd probably be a different story, but I live in the city and it's usually fine. There's also like a ton of black people in Alabama, which black people tend to be less conservative. Not necessarily super lefties, but they're usually not, you know, Republicans. One sec, someone just messaged me. But yeah. How do you deal with racism? That's a deep question there. Bonnie Maloney with another super sticker. The 10 Australian. How do you deal with racism? You know, these days I don't get a lot of like direct racism, and a lot of times there's not a lot you can do with it. And I'm the type of person that I don't really let a lot of things get to me. Especially things that don't seem very personal. A lot of the time when people are mean to you or really like cruel to you, it says a lot more about them than about you. A lot of times I just kind of assume that people are like just sad in their own lives, and that kind of makes me sad, so I don't even feel mad about the situation. So yeah, I don't know. It's hard to answer. It's, you know, it's not like it's the 50s where it's something that you have to deal with on a day-to-day, hour-to-hour basis. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of ignore it. It's usually pretty safe to ignore. It's just so weird. It's like cringe when people are racist. Like, who does that? It doesn't even seem like real. It's hard to react to. Like, I feel like if someone's being racist, they're just trolling, and like if you react, then you're just giving them what they want. It just feels so bizarre, you know? Like who's racist in 2024? Like, get a grip. Is I think Bonnie Maloney. So I don't know if you guys can see. There's like this super chat goal. This is like a new feature, I guess. It wasn't there last time I streamed. Maybe it's just new for me. And I think Bonnie Maloney's trying to achieve the goal. I appreciate the super stickers. Would you do another show like your ranked theme songs? I mean, I would love to. That was really fun to make, but nobody watched it. That was really bizarre. I like, the problem is it, like, if I did something like that, I would have to do like a lower effort version of it, because it's like I like literally lost money on that video. Because, you know, I like paid an editor and, you know, spend a lot of time on it and things like that. And so yeah, I like lost money on it, and I can't be losing money on videos. That's the thing, guys. You know, you gotta, if you want people to make stuff, you gotta support it. And by support it, I mean click on it, watch it, comment. Because if not, that signals to the creator. I was like, oh, people don't like this, so I guess I won't do it anymore. But the thing with that is, I always get comments where someone will be like, man, I love this video. This is my favorite video of yours. And it's like one of my lower viewed videos. And so it's like, man, I guess some people like the video. But I would have to figure out a way to do it where I don't lose money. That would be the main thing. Sorry, if this question is stupid, it's not. Have you been to Gulf Shores? I was there around summer and I enjoyed it. I've been to Gulf Shores many times. That's our beach. When people in Alabama want to go to the beach, that's usually where they go, because it's the closest beach. And I enjoy it. It's not the greatest beach. There's a lot of better beaches just, you know, a few hours away in Florida, but it's a beach, and beaches are cool. Oh man, I love the rank theme song video. Well, I appreciate that. Should I write now? Sorry, I've been all twisted. I mean, you guys can watch whatever you want. I'm just saying, like, that's how creators, you know, judge whether something is successful, is people click on it and watch it. And that's also how the algorithm decides whether to show you future videos. Like, I got a lot on that post I made. I got a lot of comments where people were like, YouTube doesn't show me your videos, which is, so this is a thing that people say a lot, and I don't want to come off like accusatory of people. And there is a non-zero chance that YouTube, just for whatever reason, doesn't show people my videos. But usually the reason that YouTube doesn't show people your videos is because the last time they showed them a video, they didn't engage with it. So that signal to YouTube's like, oh, this person is not that interested in these videos. Now, I understand it kind of sucks. I have this problem where there are channels where I like some of their stuff, but not all of their stuff. But I would still like to be notified when they make new stuff, so I can decide if I want to engage with it. But a lot of times, if you don't engage with the video, they won't show you the next thing. So if you're in that situation, you have to go out of your way to set it up so that you still get to see their videos, whether it be bookmarking the page or clicking the notification bell. Like, the YouTube algorithm is all about maximizing your time on the site. So if you show any indication that you're not interested, they will not show you those videos, because they know that they can show you something that you are interested in that will get you to watch. And that's just how it works, you know. So if you want to ensure that you get shown videos, you have to engage with them. I think this is a common misconception about YouTube. You know how all YouTubers ask you, like, please like and subscribe and share and comment and all this stuff? I think a lot of people think that liking, when you like and subscribe and comment, that boosts the video in the algorithm. And it doesn't really do that. What it does is signal to YouTube, hey, this person is interested. Let's show them their next video. And so that's still good for creators. That's why they ask you to do that. And also, I think a lot of creators don't really understand that either, but that's what that's for. I wonder if you did a live ranked tier list like some gamers do, would help something similar to the theme song video. Those are always fun. Yeah, maybe something like that works better as a live thing instead of a pre-recorded video. I was also thinking of doing it as a short instead of a long video, but I don't know. But at the end of the day, you should react to videos how you would naturally act. I don't want people to feel pressured to watch my stuff. Like, if you don't like it, then you don't like it. That just means I need to make better videos. Yeah, so, and you know, it's not like me saying this right now is going to have a huge impact on my videos, but just watch what you want to watch. It's fine. But I do think that sometimes people are like, well, YouTube never shows me your videos. Well, it's like, maybe because you didn't watch the last one. When people say YouTube doesn't show me your video, does that mean they don't use the subscription tab? I only use the subscription tab. It's there. Why not use it? Yeah. I mean, I honestly don't use my subscription tab that much. So I kind of get that. I honestly like I never wanted to admit it, but honestly, when I click the home page, I just get better suggestions than my subscriptions tab. It's probably if you only subscribe to a small amount of people, your subscription tab might be better, but I'm subscribed to literally thousands of channels. It's just what I've collected over the fucking 16 years or so that I've had my account. And so, yeah, I just get better results when I click on my homepage. And sometimes when you click on the subscription, it's just like this, some people post way more frequently than other people. So it'll be like 10 of the same person and you have to like scroll to find the other people, it just depends on who you're subscribed to, I think. I know you've done quite a few videos about reality shows. You ever watch Kenny versus Spenny? I have not watched that. I've never heard of that, I don't think. 6 seasons? What the hell? Interesting. Yeah, I've never heard of that. Oh, it's Canadian. Is that good? I guess people liked it if it went for 6 seasons. do it with music. Well, I'm trying to keep it. I'm trying to keep the videos in the sort of niche of nostalgic TV. I'm kind of branching out into reality TV as well. Um, so yeah, I have made, like, I did make that one video about a hip hop group, which did pretty well, but I don't know. I'm still figuring stuff out. I just, you never know like what's gonna hit and what's not gonna hit. Luckily, things hit often enough for me to keep doing this, but another thing I need to work on is just releasing videos more frequently. But that's something I'm gonna have to figure out because, you know, in order to make that Seinfeld video, I had to watch Seinfeld, which is, you know, 9 seasons. Who knows, like 190 episodes, I think, and that takes a long time. So I have to figure that. I have to figure that part out as well. KBS is by far the funniest reality show, and it's all on YouTube. Interesting. I'll check it out. Because I am interested in finding shows that haven't been covered to death already. And since that's a Canadian show, I'm guessing that a lot of American people probably are not that familiar with it. That was one thing that I was kind of worried about with the Kid Nation video, is because that video, that show has actually been covered quite a few times on YouTube, but I feel like I had like a different kind of take on it, and I wanted to more so tell the story of the show rather than just kind of roast it and just kind of like react to it, which is what most people did. But in the future, I'm definitely going to try to, you know, like I probably wouldn't do a video about like The Bachelor or something, you know, because it's like everybody knows that show and everyone talks about that show all the time. I want to find like just weird, obscure, old reality shows. But we'll see, you know, maybe people aren't interested in that. We'll see going forward. Like obviously the Joe Schmo video did really well, but you know, I still want to do more like sitcom videos and stuff too. So just keep going. I think I just got to package my videos good. Make sure the title and thumbnail is engaging. Because I think you know, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think my videos are generally decent nowadays. I think it took me a long time how to like learn how to make a decent video, but I feel like I'm okay with it. And I think, you know, on YouTube in your dashboard, you can see the retention of your video, and my retention is really good. Like it's like a straight line. When people start my videos, they usually watch the whole thing or most of it, and it's just getting them in there in the first place. That's the hard part. I've ever seen Murder, She Wrote. I'm obsessed. I love Angela Lansbury. It's kind of refreshing having a show with an older female protagonist. I watched that a lot when I was a kid. Yeah, it's a good show. There's a channel, I can't remember what it's called, but there's a channel that almost exclusively makes videos about Murder, She Wrote. I can't remember what channel it is though. Hold on. Maybe not almost exclusively, but they've made like many videos about the video. Yeah, Pushing Up Roses. That's exactly right. That's it. But yeah, I think that's cool to just have a whole channel devoted to that. I should have done that. I should have just picked a show and just made videos about all the interesting episodes. Waiting for her to cut her teeth on Father Dulling Mysteries. I don't think I know what that is. Is that like in the Murder She Wrote universe? I'd be curious about more pre-2000s reality shows, maybe before it was such a big genre of TV. Yeah, I mean, I just kind of I'm interested in just interesting concepts. The thing is, like in the early 2000s, well, early to mid 2000s, there were just so many reality shows, so many random, bizarre reality shows, and I think it would be interesting just to like tell people about some of them because a lot of them are very obscure. I think the Joe Schmo show was pretty obscure. But yeah, there's probably I don't even know how many reality shows there are pre 2000. Because that's about when the boom started kicking in. I'm sure there are a few because like The Real World was like what 96 or something when it started. So there's probably a few like in that period. What's up, Frederick? It's a ripoff where the protagonist is a Catholic priest with a smart mouth nun. A ripoff, interesting. Would you consider doing something on the early Big Brother? I think it started in Holland and then there was the UK one. I was addicted. Possibly if it's interesting. I would have to check it out to see if there's actually something to talk about because Big Brother is one of those really popular ones that has been covered a lot. Frederick, thank you for the $10. Thank you. Thanks for the good community on Discord and the fun videos. Are you much a concert person, or at least is there an artist / act you like to see, even if you aren't one? I don't really think of myself as a concert person. If I really, really like an act, I will go see them. But yeah, I'm not one of those people that just goes to shows all the time. I know that's I don't know how popular that is in different communities, but going to shows is like is really big where I live. Like it's just kind of a common thing that people do. At least in the friend circles that I have. But yeah, I'm not really super into it. But if I really like the act, I'll go. But yeah, it's not something I do a lot. There are people that I would go see, I guess. But I don't really even keep up with music that much anymore. So, you know, like I would go see like, who would I go see? I went and saw Father John Misty when he came to my town. I went and saw Earl Sweatshirt when he came to my town. I have some friends that are in bands that are pretty good. I think the group that I would want to see over any, which I will probably never get to see, is Outkast. I'm kind of sad that I probably missed my chance to ever see them live. I would probably go see Lord live. I'm a huge Lord fan, which I don't know if that's surprising to people, but I love Lord. There are definitely stories about failed reality shows out there too that would be interesting. I remember the first season of the US version of Big Brother. I saw that. I think I saw that when it aired. I've never seen any of the other versions actually. I think I remember a video game once that was going to have Angry Joe as a judge and have Zoe Quinn as a contestant. That show imploded in fire and drama from what I heard. Yeah, that sounds familiar actually. I should look into that. There was another one that they did that had like, it was like a gamer house. I don't know. I don't think it was the same one you're talking about. Maybe it was. I don't go to shows for the sake of going to shows, but I was originally against going to shows in general just because I'm not big on being in crowded places. Big artists are hard to see because of how large and impersonal the venues are. Yeah, I mean, they're hard to see, but like, you know, if you've got the money and you go to a comedy festival, you can at least have the experience of seeing them live, which your mileage can vary with that. Yeah, but I'm not super interested in being in the middle of a big crowd either. But I kind of like the local venues in my town because they're usually pretty chill. And even when they're crowded, it's still manageable. Like if I wanted to go see a huge act that would usually, you know, that would require going to like a big music festival with like 10,000 people in the audience. And that sounds miserable to me. But if it was like Lord or Outkast, I would probably do it. Assuming like I felt like paying for it, which has not been the case as of yet. Rip MF Doom. MF Doom was pretty good. Lord is maybe my favorite artist. Based. I love Lord. I don't know. It's just one of those people I kind of stumbled on. I mean, obviously, she had that really big song Royals, which I think is like a genius song. But that whole album, that's like an album with no skips. Pure heroin. It's like every single song on the album is amazing. And I was like, after I listened to that album, I was like, oh shit, I'm a Lord fan. This whole album's amazing. And then everything else that I listened from her is good. Like, I don't think I've ever heard a song by her that I don't like. Honestly, haven't listened much of Lord, not for the sake of avoiding her. I'm just weird with pop music, which I like, but I have to like manually seek out pop music, which can be tricky. I don't seek out music anymore. I just happen to hear stuff, and I just happen to. Well, I think everyone heard Lord because their song was so big, but after hearing that song, I sought out more because I loved that song so much. And there are people, and because of Lord, I kind of like that sort of indie pop female led style, and I've gotten into other people because of Lord. Like I like Billie Eilish a lot because I think Billie Eilish sounds a lot like Lord to me. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of like those. I kind of like if I had to describe my taste in music, it's like I like stuff that is accessibly weird. That's how I describe the type of music that I like. And I think Outkast is a great example of that. I think they're excessively weird. Like, it can't be too weird to where it's like inaccessible. I think there's a lot of stuff that's just too weird and too indie. But then I don't want just like pure bubblegum formulaic pop music. Like, that's usually not that interesting to me. You have to find the balance. Oh, what's up, Jordan? Hello. Gonna play D&D? Awesome. My D&D game this weekend is canceled because of people got stuff to do, but we should pick up again next week. What about stage productions? Stuff that's not concerts really, but entertaining in a similar way? I don't know that I've seen a lot of stuff like that. Do you mean like theater? Yeah, that really I haven't really experienced that too much, to be honest. I don't know if you specifically mean theater, but theater is like it's just an aspect of human culture that I just completely missed. Are the band Bowling for Soup bowling to earn soup or bowling on behalf of soup? You know, I never thought about that. I guess I always assumed that they were bowling to earn soup, but I don't know. I don't know the answer. I would have traded years of my life to see MF Doom live. I feel you. Yeah, there's not that many people that I just like have to see live that I just feel like I'm missing out if I haven't seen them, but I do have a few. The Sound of Pure Heroin had a huge impact on the pop music that's come out since. Yeah, I could totally see that. But I will say that sort of like her sound is definitely, you know, inspired by things that came before it, which everything is for sure. But like you could name probably some of her inspirations. I don't know if I'm sure she's talked about her inspirations, but you could probably guess some of them. And I just learned today that heroin is hard for me to say. Pure heroin. Heroin. Heroin? Heroin. I don't know. It just sounds weird to me. But the more I say it, the more weird it's gonna sound. So let's stop. Do I like any Beck? I don't know that much about Beck, but I think I like what I've heard. I've probably only heard a few songs though. Are you too late to ask a question? No, you are not too late. Ronnie James Dio is my missed out on experience. Lorde is interesting in that she definitely did have a huge impact on the direction pop music took after her, but it seems like she didn't get a ton of recognition for it. Yeah, I thought about that as well. Like, it seems like she was really big and then not a lot of people talk about her anymore. She's still dropping bangers, by the way. But yeah, I don't know. I think maybe she got old and people stopped caring. How old is she now? She's probably not even that old. Is she like 30 or something now? 28. She's not even that old. What the hell? But yeah, I don't know. Maybe that has something to do with it, or maybe she, you know, she doesn't seem to be like out there like a lot of other people. Like, does she like do TikTok and shit? Like, you know, like Billie Eilish has TikTok, and I know she used to post on Tumblr. I used to follow her on Tumblr, but I don't know what she really does with her social media. Yeah, I remember because she also seemed like a pretty chill person, which I respected because I think she was like 16 or something when that song first came out. And I remember being like impressed with her despite her young age, because I am a few years older than her. More than a few, but still. I've learned, I don't know if this is a commonly known fact, but it was revealed that before she released Royals, she posted the song on 4chan to get advice on it, which I think is hilarious. To get like feedback on the song. You mentioned you were getting into books in the past. Read anything good recently? Yeah. I'm currently reading a book called Creativity Inc. I read pretty much exclusively nonfiction right now. I'll probably get into fiction at some point, but Creativity Inc. is written by one of the co-founders of Pixar, and it's just kind of a story about the foundation of Pixar. Like, it starts out as like the history of Pixar, and then it just goes into like the challenges of managing a creative business, which is something I'm interested in, as you might imagine. And it's really interesting. I like it a lot. Outside of that, I read a lot of personal development type books, which I think personal development is kind of a euphemism for self-help, which has kind of a negative connotation. But there are good books in that genre. I know a lot of it is pretty scammy, but I've just been trying to like learn how to do stuff and improve as a person, and so I've been reading a lot of books that I think would help me with that. Also, just improve at my craft and at my career. So that's mainly what I've been reading. Please don't close the door on theater. New plays, especially comedies, are the best. Yeah, I think I don't have a problem with theater. I could watch a play. I think musical theater is kind of weird sometimes. Like, I think that's a very unique genre that is for some people and not for all people. But theater in general, I can get down with. I just listened to Tennis Court, and yeah, I can hear the influence it's had on like everything in the past 6 years. Yeah. Tennis Court, also a great song, maybe even better than Royals. I don't know. I think I'm just biased because I've heard Royals way too many times. Royals is probably still a better song, but I've just heard it. I'd be okay if I never heard that song again. I've heard it way too many times. Charlie XCX is older than her, and I think she came out way later. Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of joking when I said maybe she got old, but you never know. Are you checking out Rua? Thanks for coming. Thanks for stopping by. I only recently heard of Charlie XCX. I don't even know anything about Charlie XCX, really. Like, I'm talking about music as if I am a music connoisseur. I really am not. I don't know anything about music. I just happen to have certain people that I've gotten into. What's up? Is it Kaylee? Is that how you said it? Welcome to the stream. I live fairly close to Pixar Studios. It's in such a random town that I wouldn't have even known about it if I didn't move to East Bay. Yeah, the story of Pixar is interesting. He talks about how basically like Steve Jobs saved Pixar from extinction, but also how Steve Jobs, like I think everyone knows that Steve Jobs was like kind of an asshole and just this really intense person, and he basically confirms that in the book. But he kind of let the Pixar people just kind of do their own thing, and he kind of understood that his intensity would just slow them down, so he just kind of let them do their own thing, which is interesting. As someone who works in musical theater, you are entirely correct. Musical theater is kind of a circle jerk, and you know what? That's cool. You know, as long as people are enjoying themselves and not being elitist and rude to other people about it, that's fine. I think a lot of things are a circle jerk. Like, I'm a big D&D person. I think it could be described that D&D is kind of a big circle jerk, but it's also a pretty welcoming and open community. So but yeah, you have to really, I don't know, musical theater. Well, a better example is wrestling. Like, I'm a big pro wrestling fan, and pro wrestling is one of those things where it's like it has a very strong internal community, and it probably looks so fucking weird to anyone who's not in the community. And I think that's how musical theater is as well. But it's also, at least in the case of wrestling, almost everyone that I have tried to get into wrestling at least appreciate it. They were like, oh, I get why people like this. So maybe musical theater is the same. Am I a Swift fan? I don't know that much about Taylor Swift, assuming that's what you mean by Swift, but I think every song that I've heard from Taylor Swift has been good. So in that sense, I'm a fan, but I don't really follow the music. I kind of respect I respect Taylor Swift for figuring out how to become a billionaire without directly exploiting people. So that's good for her. Kaylee is that what I said? Is that what I said? What did I say? Kylie? Kaylee. I kind of like that spelling. That's that's a cool spelling of that. She's been around for a while. She's just not been at that A tier pop stardom. I think she might be bigger in the UK. I can see that. Steve Jobs was involved with Halo before Bungie got bought by Microsoft. Yeah, it seems like he had his hand in a lot of things. I used to have real elitist music views, but I got over myself and just enjoy music for what it is now. I am the exact same. I just enjoy what I feel that way about everything. Music, movies. I've become very simple and basic and easy to please. Just make something good, or even just okay, and I'll probably enjoy it. You know, I look for things to enjoy. I think a lot of people look for things to dislike, but me, I don't want to dislike things. I am prepared to enjoy anything. When I was in high school, like I've, we're talking about like pop and indie and shit like that. But when I was in high school, I was a big, I mean, I still love hip hop music, obviously, but I was a huge hip hop snob in high school. I was like, this hip hop is good, this hip hop is bad. Usually, if it was like a mainstream popular rap music, I didn't like it. I was like, no, you got to listen to the real lyrical stuff. I think there was a lot of people like that back in the day. You gotta listen to like Mos Def and Common. That's the real hip hop. But now I totally appreciate just mainstream rap music. I think it's because I was a kid. Like a lot of rap music is like, a lot of popular rap music is about money and sex and drugs. And I always say I was a kid. When I was a kid, I had never experienced any of those things, so I didn't know. But once you get some money, and once you get some sex, and once you get some drugs, you start to realize, oh, I get why you might want to make a song about that. Because at the very least, they make life interesting. Not condoning or encouraging anything, but I get it now. And then there's also, I think we all had some songs that we pretended to not like because it was like kind of uncool. Well, I won't speak for you. I'll speak for myself. But I think maybe a lot of people like pretend to not like certain stuff or pretend to like things ironically. But then when you get older, it's like, actually, Backstreet Boys were kind of tight. Actually, Creed made some bangers. But when you're like 14, it's like, it's not that cool to say that you like the Backstreet Boys. Unless you're a little girl. I don't know why I use Backstreet Boys as an example, because NSYNC is better. But I digress. What was your favorite band / artist in the 9th grade? It's honestly, it's like still the same. It was probably Outkast still at the time. And probably my favorite band outside of that was / is Nirvana. I think a lot of that is probably nostalgia, but I don't think any band has just blew my mind as much as Nirvana has throughout my life. Early 2000s rap, there was a lot of good stuff out there. That was like the heyday of, Mos Def and Nas. I think even like Jay-Z was doing some of his best stuff at that time. And then there was this whole level of underground rap music that you just had to know of. Like, they weren't that popular, but you just had to know. So stuff like Sage Francis and Aesop Rock and Punch and Words and Pharoah Monch. Like, there's a lot. Atmosphere. As a classically trained musician, I find music elitism between popular music fans to be pretty dumb. Yeah, I think as you get older and you start to like think about it, it's like it really makes no sense. It's an emotion. It's not a logic based position to be like, the music I like is better than the music you like. It's like, it's literally subjective. even with pop music, I think there is an elegance in the formula of it. Like I think it's cool that there are people that know how to make a hit song. Like they know the formula to make a hit song. To me, that's cool. To other people, that might be depressing because it boils music down to a formula, which seems to go against creativity. But to me, I think that just says something about the beauty of music. It's like there are just some things that are widely appealing. At the same time, though, sometimes stuff is bad, or at least sometimes you don't like stuff, which is fine. It's totally fine to dislike stuff. Just don't shit on what other people like, you know? Like there's like I can get with some levels of metal, but there's some like fucking really deep cuts in the like death metal genre, or I don't even know all the genres, but there's some deep cuts that it just doesn't vibe with me at all. And that's fine, you know? I have some friends that really love that shit, and that's cool. It brings them joy or brings them whatever kind of emotions that they're looking for. But I listen to it and I just don't vibe with it at all. I remember when everyone trashed Britney Spears and now everyone praises her. Yeah. Poor Britney Spears. I hope she's okay. She went through it. Honestly, Britney Spears is one of the people that helped me break out of this sort of anti-pop elitism, because she was dropping some actual bangers. Like it was easy for me to be like, oh, oops, I did it again, that's corny. But then when she started dropping shit like Toxic, if you don't like the song Toxic, I don't know, man. I know I just said it's subjective, but that is like a certified banger. And then even other stuff like I'm a Slave for You, that song is so good. It's like, okay, Britney's the truth. Do I know who Stuttering John from Howard Stern and Jay Leto is? I don't think so. It seems like something I would know, but I don't think so. What's more important to you, the lyrics or the music? It just depends on the song. Different songs have different strengths, I think. You know, some songs don't even have lyrics, but they're still good. I'm trying to think of a good example. I mean, I think hip hop is a great example of this, because there are a lot of hip hop songs where the lyrics really don't say anything. This isn't unique to hip hop, but this is just a good example. Like for example, one of my all-time favorite songs is the song "Swag Surfin'." I don't know if y'all know this song. It's pretty popular. And there's a dance that goes with it. You can look it up. But this song is not it's not about anything. And the rapping isn't that good and the lyrics aren't that good. But it's such a fun song and the beat is really fun and it's just, I love it so much. But then there are songs where the lyrics are like life-changing. You know? Or not even the lyrics can be really good, or sometimes just the technique of how they deliver the lyrics is really good. That's one of the reasons why I like hip hop so much, is because the technique of rapping is just really cool, interesting to me. And just the way that you can put so many words and rhymes together. smell food, but I'm not cooking. I guess it's my neighbor. It's weird that I can smell it though. Doesn't smell like anything's burning. I was like, did I leave the stove on? I don't think so. All of the music that sounds good to us, at least within our 21st century Western cultural context, is repetitive and formulaic. Music is not a medium like painting that can be super abstract. I mean, to some extent, because you can think of things like improvisational jazz. I would consider that pretty loose and abstract, and some people love that shit. But obviously, improvisational jazz is not something that's going to top the Billboard charts. Dio was famous for lyrics that were evocative but did not grammatically follow or make sense when taking on the whole. Yeah, I mean, there's many like great nonsense songs. One of my favorite songs is "I Am the Walrus" by the Beatles, and that song is literally nonsense. I believe it was done on purpose just to spite people, if I remember the story correctly. I think John Lennon was like, I'm going to write a song that makes no sense because people keep trying to analyze our songs, and that's not the point. Six 1612 by Wolfpack is a great song, and the lyrics are all random nouns. I haven't heard that. I should check it out. Fun fact, if you didn't know, lyric comes from the word lyre, and is an ancient Greek method of poetic musical composition. Music is not a medium that can be abstract is a wild take. I think maybe... I mean, I think it's clearly true that human brains enjoy repetition, but there's always some formula, you know, like when you make a chord, there's like a limited number of chords that sound good to the human ear. That's at least how I took what they were saying. You can't just smash your head on a piano and make it sound good. Most people would say that doesn't sound good, you know? What's a food you hated as a kid but liked or at least can tolerate as an adult? Tomatoes. I used to hate tomatoes. Now I love them. They're like one of my favorite things to eat. But yeah, up through high school, I used to literally, like, tomatoes used to make me gag. I don't know what happened, but now I love them. Eagle Walla is a parody song that is complete gibberish but sounds like it could be a pop hit. Yeah, I talk about Eagle Walla in my book. But yeah, I know it's interesting to think about abstract art, because in a way, isn't abstract art just kind of a reaction to other types of art? Like, could abstract art even exist without other types of visual art to sort of inform it? I don't know, maybe. Like, I literally spent a day researching Jackson Pollock because I was like, I don't get why this dude was so famous and popular. I just don't get it. All his paintings just look like splatters random nonsense, which is kind of what they are. But I kind of get it now. Mostly it was just kind of in the context of the period that he was in. And that's just kind of how art works in general, even music. A lot of it just matters in the context of the cultural period that you're in. And he was just like he was achieving something on the canvas that you could not do without the techniques that he used. So it was like very unique and new. So I kind of get it now. And so, yeah, I don't know. That just made me think about the idea of like abstract art and things of that nature. But yeah, me personally, I'm a little bit basic in that way, as I do want accessible art and entertainment. I'm not really trying I'm not really trying to get something super abstract and esoteric. It's not really my jam. I think some people really appreciate that kind of stuff. You know, like a weird like student film or something, or there's some like really off the wall music. I appreciate that, and I think it should exist, but that's not really what I'm looking for at this point in my life. I think this is an interesting conversation, though. I wish I had more input on it, because the idea of like how abstract can music really be, and does all music need to, like, could you just record you banging your head on a piano and release that and be like, this is my music? Is that legitimate? Would that even count as music? I think you could argue that it counts as art if you're trying to make a statement by it, but is it music? Is it really music? I don't know. I would have to listen to noise music to see like what that is. Like, is it the equivalent of just smashing your head on a piano? Because at that point, it's like, are the songs even replayable? But again, I guess they don't have to be, you know? Do you do much art yourself? I mean, I consider YouTube art, but outside of that, no. I used to draw a lot. Like, I could probably find several old sketchbooks somewhere in my apartment, but I don't really do it anymore. Which, I've talked about this, but I'm kind of sad about it, because when I was a kid, that was like what I was known as, was the kid who draws, and I was pretty good at it too. When I was a kid, like, my mom even considered sending me to an art school, because one of my teachers saw one of my drawings and they were like, yo, you're really good, you should hone this. Unfortunately, it was expensive and my mom didn't want to pay for it, but I don't know that I would have lasted, because all the way up to college, I used to draw all the time, and I actually originally studied art in college. But unfortunately, turning the art into work kind of ruined it for me. And I think that's kind of a common story you hear with things. And I think there are sometimes you can make your hobbies your work, but sometimes you can't. Sometimes it ruins it. Luckily for me, my YouTube hobby became my work, and it worked out. But it didn't work for visual art. What's your book about? Oh, I just made a book to give advice to small and beginner creators, just giving like the basics of how to do YouTube, basically. Um, I give a lot of, so I think someone mentioned the YouTubers subreddit earlier. I lurk on there a lot and give people advice and stuff about just YouTube, because I think there's just a lot. When you first start YouTube, you just kind of have no idea what's going on, and I just wanted to like help people just figure out the basics of how to be successful on YouTube. And I was like giving people like kind of the same advice over and over again, so I just thought I'd put it in a book. So I just wrote a book and self-published it and put it on Amazon, and a few people bought it. It's pretty cool. If you're interested, I can share a link. But yeah, and I mentioned that Iguala video in it. I like drawing. I do a bunch, and my desk gets messy. I don't clean it up, and my motivation is gone. Whale songs are pretty abstract. That's like the topic of the day. What is abstract and what isn't? If you were to win the lottery but had to live in either New York or Los Angeles, which city would you choose? Definitely Los Angeles. New York just sounds stressful. It's just like too many people in too small of an area. Also, LA just, it kind of fits my career more. Not that I couldn't succeed in New York. I like that winning the lottery is part of the hypothetical. It's like you have to, it has to come with the caveat that you have the money to live there, because they're both extremely ridiculously expensive cities. Yeah, I mean, I haven't spent too much time in either place, so a lot of it is just kind of based on what I've seen. I probably have kind of a warped idea. But when I think of New York, I just think of this small city with just a bunch of people on the street at all times. And when I think of LA, I think of it being more spread out, but I could be wrong. I've actually been to LA more times than New York, though. But usually, I didn't really get to explore either city. There's also sort of the idea of New Yorkers being less friendly. I don't know that people in LA are super friendly though, but yeah, New Yorkers have this sort of reputation for being less friendly, which I'm not interested in. I want to be around nice people. But then there's the idea of people in LA being like really fake and stuff, so who knows? It's probably all stereotypes. I'm sure there's pleasant people everywhere. I might recommend starting a like weekly sketch page just as a thing to do, like exercise. Yeah, I don't know. I've thought about getting back into drawing, but I gotta say it's not super high on my priority list. Like right now, my creative outlets right now are my YouTube channel and D&D, and I feel very fulfilled in both. Do I still like making YouTube videos? Yeah, certainly. Share link. I'll link my book. Are there any historical landmarks around the world that you would one day like to visit? I mean, I want to see all of them eventually. I don't even really know what's out there. I mean, there's definitely some places that I want to go. Like I've always wanted to go to the Louvre Museum in France. I don't know if I guess that counts as a historical landmark. But yeah, I don't know. I want to visit everywhere. I had a lot of friends in New York, and there you got to be prepared to pay $2K a month and have a toilet perched under your oven. Yeah, truly, fuck that. that sounds miserable. Even if I was wealthy, just on principle, it's like, that's ridiculous. Like I can't imagine living in either city regardless of how wealthy I was. Like maybe I could live near one of those cities, but I don't know. I'm not 2K for a, you know, a studio apartment is that you're sharing with like 8 other people. It's like no. I feel like I would off myself having to deal with LA. Yeah, LA traffic. I have experienced LA traffic. It takes an hour to like get anywhere, even if it's like down the street. I went to VidCon in 2016 and I flew into LAX. And so I had to drive from LAX, or I didn't drive, I rode from LAX to Anaheim, which, how far is it from LA to Anaheim? It's not that far, right? Like an hour away. It definitely took like 2.5 hours. It's like 30 minutes by bus, it looks like. Anyway, it took like 2 hours to get there. Are you a nerd fighter? I'm a nerd fighter insofar as I am a fan of John and Hank Green. In fact, I'm a big fan of John and Hank Green. I think Vlogbrothers is probably my favorite YouTube channel. And Hank Green is like, I don't know how to describe what I'm going to say. I'm a big fan of Hank Green, let's put it that way. Hank Green is like the model of like what kind of YouTuber I would like to be. He's kind of done it the way that I like. And he's like, he commands this sort of respect that I really admire. So yeah, I like them, basically. I don't like the term nerd fighter. The nerd fighter though, is just, it sounds corny to me. But you know, it works for them. But if you ask me if I'm a fan of the Green Brothers, then the answer is yes. Vlogbrothers is one of the few YouTube channels that I think that I have seen every single video on that channel, literally from the beginning. Like they've done probably thousands of videos at this point. And I've seen all of them. I like John Green a lot too. I feel like he and I are kindred spirits in many ways. I really like the way that he talks about things. But Hank, I think Hank, I admire Hank a lot. And I like them because they're like one of the few creators that really exude positivity and kindness, which I feel like you just don't see that much these days. Everybody's so cynical and sometimes just straight up mean-spirited in their content, in their public personas. Like that's just like the cool thing to do now, is just be so cynical and like negative. And I just really appreciate that they still are positive. Like I would like to do that. There's a level, I think I do it for the most part, but I know sometimes my videos can get into being lean negative sometimes, but I think as a person I'm pretty positive. Read any good books lately? I was talking earlier about this book I'm reading now. It's called Creativity Inc. It's like the story of how Pixar was formed and just how it's written by the co-founder of Pixar. It's really interesting. I'm really enjoying it. Born and raised in NorCal. I can't stand LA. I've only been to NY a few times, but I love not needing a car for basically anything. I do appreciate that. Yeah, I think I could appreciate that. I like having a car. I like having a car, but I do not like needing a car. And honestly, like I said, I've been to LA more times. Maybe if I visited New York more, maybe I would fall in love with it. Who knows? Because it does seem like a very, you know, a place that's like really proud of its like culture, and the people are like really proud to live there, and it has like legendary food and stuff. So maybe I would fall in love with it. Who knows? Do I listen to their podcasts? I have listened to a lot of it. I haven't listened to every single episode, but I've listened to several episodes. I do. I enjoy it. I like them, so I like the podcast. Have I been to Europe at all? Nope. Well, technically, I was born in Germany because my dad was in the army, and I was born in an army base. But I left there when I was like 2 years old. But outside of that, I have not been to Europe. That's one of my goals. Is to travel. I hope to travel more within the next decade of my life, because that's something that I have not done in my life. I mean, I've been around the United States to a decent extent, but outside of the United States, I have not really, or have not done it all, really. And I think I'm gonna stream for maybe just about 10 more minutes, and then we're gonna close it down. I'm getting kind of hungry, actually. I think my neighbors are cooking something, and it's making me hungry. Have I visited Haiti or any other Caribbean country? No. The closest thing is, so my mom and my mom's side of the family is from Panama, and I visited Panama when I was a kid. That's kind of a Caribbean country. It's more of a Central American country, but yeah. Do I still live in Alabama? Yes, I do. Retta, thank you for the $10. But yeah, like I said, I would love to travel. There's so many places I want to go. I want to visit Asia. I want to visit all the Scandinavian countries. I mean, I guess I got to do like a tour through Europe at some point. A lot of people recommend South America and some of those other countries. Yeah, there's a lot of places. I haven't even been to Canada. I would like to visit Canada. Africa. There's probably a lot of cool shit in Africa. I really want to check out New Zealand. They really feel like they really seem like they know what they're doing in New Zealand. That just seems like a country where people just kind of they got it figured out. I mean, I'm sure they have their issues, but I don't know. New Zealand just seems really chill. If you had a private chef, what's the most important dish they'd have to know? The most important dish. I don't know. Like I try not to eat too unhealthy. I mean, I could say some unhealthy stuff. But if I had a private chef, I would want them to mostly make healthy stuff. I mean, I think Like I really like fried rice, but that's not really that healthy. I think that would be a big one though. But yeah, I don't know. Just I don't know. They just have to. I think like chicken is the best. It's like the best food. So as long as they could do something interesting with chicken, I'd be fine. And honestly, if I become wealthy, getting a private chef is something that I would seriously look into. I like to cook actually, but I don't like to cook every day. So if I had someone else to do it, that'd be tight. I could probably get I'm definitely not rich, but I could probably pay someone to make me meals, right? Someone would do that. I don't know how much that would cost though. It's probably expensive. But I feel like if I just went up to one of my friends that knows how to cook and be like, yo, I'll give you some money if you make me food. I feel like they would just do it, right? I'm glad I caught your stream today. I watched a lot of your videos that never caught you live before. Do you stream regularly? Not really, although I want to. I've been saying this for literally years at this point. But I stream more regularly than I used to. I used to stream like twice a year. Now I stream maybe once a month, but I'm trying to get I'm going to I think I'm going to try to stream more. I want to get to maybe like once or twice a week. I was thinking about, so I want to still do these sort of chill streams where we just like hang out and chat and have conversations and stuff. But I also was thinking about doing a little gaming, but I don't know how many people are interested in that. But so we'll see. But I stream right now. I stream like once a month, but hopefully I will do more. That's the answer. Maybe there's just more of it on the East Coast, but I feel like Afro-Caribbean culture really gets slept on. Perhaps. I think it just depends on where you are. I have a kind of a biased perspective because a lot of my family is from Central America, which especially the Black Latinos, a lot of their culture is influenced by Caribbean culture. So I feel like I've seen a lot of it in my life. My brother goes to school in Vancouver. Yeah, I really would like to visit Canada. If I had a private chef, I feel like I would just want them to make whatever they want, considering I can eat almost anything. Yeah, I feel like if I had a private chef, I would just give them like parameters. It's like, just make sure you hit these protein goals and these calorie goals, and outside of that, you just do whatever you want. Just surprise me. Cool. I'll put notifications on then. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's the best way to know when I'm live is just click the notification bell. One really dope thing I've discovered in Canada is that they have Asian food on the menu in standard bar and grill places. Like, interesting. There's like a high concentration of Asian people in Canada, aren't there? Or maybe am I thinking of something else? I don't have time for games a lot, so I love to watch other people game. It lets me still feel a part of the gaming community in a way. I feel that. I think there is a segment of the audience that would be interested in watching me game. We'll try it out. I don't think everybody will watch it, and some people have told me that they're not really interested in that, so that's cool. But and also it's just a way for me to game more because I don't really game that much, and there's a lot of games that I would in in theory, in my head, I would love to play the games, but then I never do. So it would give me a reason to do it. I wish I could find a way to read on stream and make that entertaining, because I would read way more books if I could do that. That's kind of the life of a YouTuber nowadays. You just try to figure out a way to make content out of the things that you want to do. They have a high South Asian population and East Asian immigrants in particular in British Columbia. Yeah, I think I heard that. Why is that? Is it just like people immigrating, but there's like, I don't want to go to America? I guess there's a lot of because there was like the land bridge in from Russia that maybe a lot of ancestors walked over from there, but those would be considered natives, right? They wouldn't be considered Asian. I don't know. Let me stop talking. Do you think the people's perception of America and American people is deserved, whether positive or negative? I mean, we just voted Trump for president. I think any perceptions that we have are deserved. We're completely ridiculous over here. I can't defend Americans at this point. We voted Trump twice. We made him the president twice. I feel like anybody saying that Americans are a little weird or a little foolish, I can't even say anything about it at this point. When I visited there, I was on a train one time. It was all Chinese and Indian people. Interesting. Although that can happen depending on which town you're in other places as well. I don't watch streams much, but whenever I see you live, I tune in because your interaction with chat feels like a conversation with friends. Are you making any money from streams or just for fun? The only money I make from streams are when people donate through Superchat, which a few people have done today, which I appreciate. Thank you so much. As of right now, there are no like ads or anything on the stream. At least I don't think so. I didn't turn them on. YouTube might turn them on automatically, but if we get to a point where we have like thousands and thousands of people in the chat, maybe I'll consider turning ads on, but we're not there yet. I kind of doubt we'll ever get there, but we'll see. I would have to have a good reason for it, though. I don't know. It's because ads are cringe. Especially there's already like enough ads on YouTube at this point, so we'll see. But if it's like free money, so I would have to I could probably come up with something to do with that money. Like maybe we could like donate it to charity or something, or like fund some kind of project with it. Or maybe we just don't do it. Who knows? But that's a problem for another day because we are nowhere near that. Because really, there's no reason to turn ads on unless you have multiple thousand people watching. Like if you have like 20 viewers and you're turning ads on, that's super cringe. You're making like fractions of a penny. Satoshi Kon film? I don't know what that is. My friend was just in France and she felt like they were blaming her for Trump winning. I mean, I think we all have some culpability in this, whether directly or indirectly. But it wasn't her fault, you know. Well, I don't know. Maybe it was. I don't know this person. But if I went to another country and they were like screaming at me about Trump, I feel like I couldn't even say nothing. It's like, yeah, we did vote him. I mean, what do you want to do? What can you do? I think we all have some culpability, but some people definitely have more than others. But I think it is incorrect for us to be like, oh, it's those Trump supporters, they're ruining this country. I mean, we're all here. We all got to figure out how to work together and figure this thing out. So maybe if we did a better job of convincing people to not be Trump supporters, then maybe this wouldn't have happened. Which is your favorite shiny Pokemon? I don't know anything about Pokemon. Is it different? Are the shiny ones different? All I know about Pokemon is like the first season of the anime. Favorite flavor of ice cream? Cookies and cream. So good. I think if you didn't vote for Trump, it's unfair to say you did not want him. It's wrong for people to treat you as if you did. I mean, that's true to some extent. I think in a very indirect way. I think it is more productive to figure out what we can do better rather than just pointing fingers at other people. And this could start a very long conversation, which I'm not really prepared to have at the moment. But there are definitely things that we could have done better. Just we as a whole, the royal we. Like, there's a reason that people turn to Trump. It's because they were sick of what was going on, and Trump, as a populist, told them that he felt their pain and that he was going to fix it. He was lying, but he still did it. And the fact that he was able to get away with that is a failing on everyone else's. Trump's argument was more convincing than everyone else's. That means everyone else needs to get better at making arguments. But at the end of the day, we didn't directly, I didn't directly vote for this man. But perhaps if we were better at this, then that wouldn't have happened. Have I ever been told you and Guitaro 5000 look similar? Nope, I never heard that name. Every now and then I rewatch old Jake and Amir videos. I saw a comment you left on one of them. Are you a fan of them and their stuff? So you keep up with any headgum stuff? Yes, I'm a big Jake and Amir fan. I think that they're comedy geniuses. And I watch their headgum sketches, which they haven't really released one in a while as far as I can tell. But I think I've seen all of the headgum sketches, which I love. I love how they've created their own style of comedy and somehow taught it to other people. It's really funny to me. I do every now and then listen to the Headgum podcast, which is also hilarious. But I haven't listened / watched every single one. Have I seen Trigonometry's interview with Brianna Wu Why We Lost? I have not. I've seen a few Trigonometry interviews, but not that one. So, what do you think of the new thing the banks will call CBDCs, since they're not allowed to have those now officially on the books? So they'll just rename it something curious. If you have an idea, I'm not really well versed in that, to be honest. Is that just like a government crypto? Yeah, I don't know that much about that, actually. Jeff is a great foil / bad guy on the Headgum podcast. Oh yeah, the Headgum podcast is like, it's one of those things, like I'm happy to like have someone to talk about it with, because you can't describe it to someone. You can't. It's one of those things that you can't show to someone, because it's like, how do you even describe what it is or why someone would watch it? It's like an anti-podcast. But it's great. I think it's art. I think it's a work of art. It's all lore, no story / content. Yeah, but it's great. I was also a fan of old college humor to a point. I think like the Jake and Amir days is like when it started getting good, and I think it just stayed good after that, and then it evolved into Dropout, which is also really good. I'm just a fan of all of that. I think early college humor is just doesn't hold up, because it was like very fratty back in the day, like in the early beginnings. It was like very fratty, and then it kind of evolved into being more like, I guess, progressive, but still kind of irreverent, which I liked that era better. The ongoing rice-based song are so. Oh yeah, I feel very happy that someone else feels me on Headgum / Jake and Amir, because it's hard to talk about with people who don't already know what's going on. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. I'm starving. But yeah, thanks everyone for stopping by. As always, it was a good conversation. I like that tangent we had about abstract art and abstract music. That's very interesting. I probably will think about that more. Like I said, I was thinking about streaming some video games. But also I'm gonna just do more streams like this. We'll see. Keep on the lookout. I should have another video coming out this month. Also, if you're interested in more chill text-based conversation, you can check out my Discord server. I shall leave a link. And it's just a little chill, friendly community. I always say that I made this Discord just because I wanted to have a spot on the internet that I knew that was always going to be chill and friendly, because the internet is often not chill and often not friendly. So I've curated my own little space. So that's what my Discord is. So if you're interested in that, check it out. But the rule is if you have to be friendly. If you don't want to be friendly, then don't join. But yeah, I believe that's it. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.